Flosstube. I'm Tanya the Starlit Stitcher, and here we are on Wednesday. It's time for the weekly updates. And I also have a little bit of haul to show you today as well. I'm going to apologize for the lighting today. It's looking pretty gloomy outside today. We're going to be having a storm coming in. I don't think we'll have snow because it's not cold enough for that, but it will be probably pretty nasty with ice either tonight or tomorrow. And so we're going to work with what we got. Anyhow, so I'm going to show you what I worked on and what I finished, because I do have a finish to show you, and the other stuff. And so firstly, let me show you my progress on unicorn poop for sale. Here's where I'm at this week. Now it doesn't look like I did a whole lot because this green strip here is kind of thin compared to this yellow one. But if I hold it closer, there is a different yellow in there as well as a different green. So there was another strip that I put in first before this strip of green here. So it's going. It's just maybe not look as much as what I did last week. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I can't really tell because I don't count the stitches, but yeah. And this is what that design will look like once it's done. This is a retired pattern because Sheena Pike does not have her artwork on Heaven and Earth Designs anymore. Oh my gosh, the glare here. There we go. But this is what that will look like. Super cute. It's totally going in the kids' bathroom when we get into our house. I think it will go great there. And next up, I worked on Halloween Quaker by Lila Studio. This is how that will appear when it's done. I did choose a very different fabric to put this on. And this is how that is looking. I feel like I made pretty good progress on this week. I put in the little pumpkins down here in the corner. This little swirly started on hat because was trying to clear up what was started over on page 1. I didn't do the motif here because I don't have enough room to finish it without moving my qsnaps, so I'll go back and do that later. I did this bigger one here, and I finished the witch and the moon here. Now the white is for the moon is not showing up as much as I hoped it would on this fabric, and so I went ahead and I backstitched it with the classic colorworks honeycomb, which is also used in other places in this design. And I'll do the same thing with the ghost that's going to be coming up over here, and then also the spider web in here. I won't be doing those in honeycomb, but I'll pull a different color from out of the other colors that's already in here. So like with the spider web, I'm thinking about maybe doing that in smoke, and on the ghost I'm thinking about doing that one in frog legs. So we'll see. I'll put it in, see what it looks like, and then decide, because I did smoke on the moon at first, and then I decided that it was too stark of a contrast for what I was going for, and so I pulled it out and put in the honeycomb instead. So we'll see how those other two go on my initial decisions for those. But anyhow, we're looking like roughly a third of the way through this design, so that's going pretty well, I think. And I did not work on either Curious Mermaid or Long May She Wave this week. Between extreme weather conditions and not having electricity and stuff because of that, my stitching time was pretty significantly reduced this week from what I normally have. And also I spent more time ripping out stuff than, yeah, I did a lot of frogging this week too, so that kind of put me behind as well. It just is what it is. We go through bouts where, sometimes I go through a long time without having to make any mistakes and pull out a whole lot, but that was not this week for me. I worked a little bit on American Deer, but also not very much this week. I found myself going to bed sooner on most days this week than what I normally do. Maybe that's just a winter thing for me, I don't know. So I, you know, a little bit. You can tell that I did something, just not a whole lot from what I normally do. But this is how that whole thing is looking so far. This is an 11 count stamped fabric kit that I got off of Amazon. It's called American Deer. This is what I work on when my visibility is not very good. Like days like today, it's pretty dark, so I'll probably be working on this probably around 3 this afternoon, maybe start working on that. But this is roughly how that will appear when it's done. That all put away. So I'm trying to stay organized, sort of. I try anyways. But my finish this week was gather here. Look at that. I finished it. Now, there are some flaws in here because I did make a couple of mistakes and I decided to leave them in there. And so I have a little bit of fudging and then something else I just decided I was not going to rip it out and do again. So the first one is over here. I did some kind of wrong placement on where the bird's stomach starts at and going into the tail. So to fix that, I ended up fudging somewhere in the tail in here. Nobody's going to notice. And then the other one that I left is grateful down here. I made the mistake of trying to stitch on this after 4 o'clock on one day last week. And then when I went to go and work on it, because I put the whole word in, I didn't want to put it down until I had that done. The next day when I went to go and work on it, I found out that I had placed it one thread too far down. Well, I'm not gonna pull that out for just that. Nobody's gonna know unless they're looking at it with like a microscope or something. So I decided to just leave that. So those two things weren't that bad. But then I went to go and continue on, do this, and come around on this side. And let me tell you, this leaf right here was the bane of my existence that day. I think I probably frogged it like 5 or 6 times before I finally got it right. Yeah, but it finally got put in. That's all correct and done. And I went ahead and I got it in this frame. And let me tell you what this frame is. I got it at Hobby Lobby. And I actually did keep the label thingy this time. I just forgot to take the thing out and get it ready for you in advance. But I have it right here. Okay. Now, this is what it was on there. This was just in the regular, it'll be this thingy here, and it was in the regular photo frame section. It was a 9x19, and the item number is 846741. Now when it was in there, when you go to look for it, if you decide to get this frame, it was one of those ones where it's got a bigger picture here and then like 10 other ones there for like a collage kind of a thing. But that's where I got it from. Obviously you want to try and get it on sale when they have those 50% off sales. They recently did have that in the photo frame section. And something else that was different than this one, because normally I put brown paper backing on the back of these. I did not do that with this one. I was able to just, you know, it doesn't look too bad, so I decided to leave it how it was. I have the glass in there. I have my mat board in there. And the backing board still fit in there relatively flat. But it's got, you know, these slidey things that normally go in the slots to keep it closed. Those don't fit in the slots anymore. So if you're somebody that frames your stuff with no glass, you might be able to actually use these things to close your frame back up when you're done. Otherwise, you can do like what I did, and I add these little thingies on there to keep them on there. Also, we thought that this might be, we weren't really sure how it was going to work using the drill to put these things on there. That's the one job that I leave to my husband to do with my stuff, because I don't know, something about the hand drill kind of scares me. I don't know why. So I hold it, he drills it. But this frame is not metal. It just kind of looks like it is, and so we had no issues with putting those in. I'll show that to you one more time before I go ahead and I put it down. And there was that. Oh, I probably should have told you what I used to stitch this. This is a 32 count murmur lugana by Picture This Plus, and the floss is DMC 3371. So 32 count murmur lugana by Picture This Plus and DMC 3371, stitched 2 over 2. There you go. And let me tell you about my little bit of haul this week. Maybe not that exciting, but it kind of is to me because I haven't had anything come for a while. Okay, I was reminded by both Fat Quarter Shop and by Stitchin' Mommy, because I was playing a little bit of catch up with her this last week, about the limited edition project bags that they have. And I hadn't gotten any of those yet for this year, and I was like, man, I like them. I want to get them because when they're gone, and they're going to move on to the next year's designs. And so I went ahead and I got myself those. I got the Oh Dear bag, Autumn Beauties. These are all pretty good size too. The Jolly Housewives. Denim Daisy. This one's really big. I like that. That's kind of like why I wanted this one so much, is because of the size. This one's big too. I also grabbed Heartfelt. Look at that. I thought this was so cute. And it's big. So it's big and cute at the same time. Now, since I bought those, I decided to get a couple of smaller items as well to throw them in there. They had qsnaps on sale. And I seem to never have enough of the bigger sized ones, so I went ahead and I grabbed myself 2 of the 11 by 17s. They were on sale for like 12 something. They were lower than 13. They might have been like $12.50 or something like that, which is a pretty good price on those. So I snatched up 2 because I do know that I've got some larger projects coming up, and I don't want to have the issue of I want to work on this, but I don't have a qsnap to put it in, and then have to keep changing, you know, take one project off, put another one on, and then have to keep, no, I don't like doing that. That drives me nuts. So that issue will be resolved. And then also I bought myself 2 of these floss fairy wands. I thought these were so cute. They kind of look like those mascara wands, and they do have a little bit of bling there on the end. Now, I don't know if you can actually buy mascara wands separately, like in a beauty supply store or something. I don't know. I've never been in one. But this looked really cute. And I pretty much used one of these a lot, like the day that I got it in the mail. So I can tell you this works really good because, yeah, like I said, I've already used it. So yeah, I got 2 because, like a pair of scissors, I kind of felt like I don't really want to have only one because you misplace the one and then you need it, and then you're like, so no more sticking your finger on there and trying to, you know, rub out your threads after you rip out, because it leaves that residue or whatever in your fabric. So that's what you're trying to get out with this, is you just rub it with this instead. And it did a really good job of picking up all those little fuzzies and stuff that got left behind. So that was a good investment, at least for me. And then I've got one last thing to show you today before I head out. Now, this is an older finish that I did. This was something that I finished, I think it was either late spring, maybe early summer of 2020. But this has gotten a tremendous amount of response on Instagram, like beyond what I ever could have imagined, because I had put it up because I was having a bit of a slow time on, being able to work on my active projects with the lighting and stuff, but I kind of wanted to keep my Instagram kind of active, and so I had found that older photo in my camera, so I decided to put that up and say, this is something that I've done. People are really, really loving this. This is a long dog sampler. It's called Pavane for these times, and this is what it looks like. Now this was one of the first actual patterns for cross stitch that I did, because before I did this, I thought that the only way to do cross stitch was, kit stuff like dimensions and whatever. I didn't know that you could actually buy patterns and then go out and buy your stuff to do said patterns. I didn't know any of that. I just thought that, you just go to the store, you buy a kit that you like and you do it, and that was all there was to cross stitch. So 2020 is what really opened up the cross stitch world for me. That being said, this was the first time that I had ever worked on a hand-dyed fabric, and it was also the first time that I ever worked with fancy flosses. And so I feel like I did a pretty good job on this, and shockingly I actually had wrote down what I used and how many skeins of it. Now this was a 28 count mirage lugana by Picture This Plus. I stitched it 2 over 2, and my floss colors are all classic colorworks. The brown is fresh brew, and I used 7 skeins of that. The pink / purple, that's mulled berries, and I used 5 skeins of that. I also used bejeweled for the blue and balsam fir for the green, and I used 3 skeins of each of those. So I'm going to put that information down in the description box below. But that is how I did this. And I had framed it at the time when I finished it, but I did not like that frame. My biggest issue with it was the glass part of the frame was not glass. It was plastic. I didn't know that until I had taken it out of the wrapping. And when plastic ages, it yellows. And I knew I didn't want it to have anything to do with that touching my stitching. So I pulled it out. I also didn't like the way that brown of the frame was going with the brown here in the design. I still don't quite know why today. I haven't really figured it out. I just know that I didn't care for the way that it looked, and so for those 2 reasons I pulled it out. I mean you can see here I didn't even have a mat have this on a mat board or anything. Like, I had no idea what I was doing, because at that point in time I had just gotten back in the cross stitch for like a few months, and I was just, I'm still kind of winging it now, but I was really winging it then. This is my back, so I think I left myself a decent amount of fabric left to still work with this to get this reframed. I just haven't done it yet. So that is on the list of things to do once we get into our houses. Get this re-ironed, get it reframed, and so it can actually get the display that it deserves in my house. But I'm pretty proud of that. It's my initials there, T and D, because that's my last initial. I think that this would also look really good done in yellows, reds, oranges, and purples. I think that's why long dog samplers are as popular as they are, is because of the fact you can customize them so easily to whatever it is that you want. Which, I knew that they were popular, but this just blew up. At least for me, it blew up when I got it posted on my Instagram. I was like, maybe not everybody else is on Instagram. I know I wasn't until recently, so I was like, I need to find that, pull it out, and and show people here on my YouTube so they could see it too. And that is that. Okay, with all that being said and shown, that is all that I've got today. I don't really have any news other than the storm that I think we're going to be getting later today. It's supposed to be dropping pretty far down in temperature again tomorrow, so we'll see if we have some more snow or not. But you'll definitely hear from me about it next week if we do. But until then, I anticipate having a better stitch week this week than I did last week. We will see. We've got our electric and water back going for now. And we've did things a little bit differently to hopefully avoid having that happen to us again. So we'll see. As always, we'll see how things go. We try to stick to the plan. Doesn't always work, but we continue on. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will be back next week with more updates. Thank you. Bye-bye.